Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Danielle, and in this video, we are going to look at a pivotal moment in the Getting Started lessons, where you look at student work from Lesson 4 to make some instructional decisions. The first lessons in Getting Started teach the foundational skills of focus and showing, and also the routines and habits that you and your students will use throughout the year. When students are able to focus on a moment in their writing, they begin to zero in on the small, observational details that create a picture for the reader. This is important because once students understand how to focus on one moment in their personal narrative writing, they will be better prepared to focus on one moment or passage when writing in response to text. Therefore, Lesson 4 is a pivotal point in Getting Started because you will assess the writing to make a decision about skipping later lessons in the subunit. Because you will be assessing the student writing from Lesson 4, make sure you fully understand the lesson and make some decisions about pacing so your students will have a full 12 minutes of writing time. You should also give over-the-shoulder conferences as you normally would during the writing time. Before you teach Lesson 7, you will need to assess your students' work from Lesson 4 for the skill of focus, using the Amplify provided rubric in the gradebook. To access the rubric, you want to first open the gradebook to Lesson 4, click on the Writing from Activity 4 in the top gray bar. This opens the writing activity view of the gradebook where you can track students' progress. Click on Handed In for your first student, and this will open up her writing for the lesson. You can access the rubrics when you click on the Assess Skill button and then the selection of the tiny I for more information. Here, you will find the description of how to assess for focus. As you can see, the definition of focus is to select one specific moment or idea and to exclusively write about this moment or idea. To receive a 4, students have to write a minimum of 120 words, and almost all of the sentences will refer to the same precise moment or idea. A 3, there's an 85-word minimum, and most sentences refer to the same precise moment. To receive a 2, a minimum of 50 words, and some sentences refer to the same moment. Or a 1, the student writes a minimum of 25 words, but none of the sentences refer to the same moment. You will notice that in addition to criteria for skill of focus, each level also has a word minimum. Students need to be producing enough writing so they can practice and demonstrate skills. If a student only produces 50 words, you're not sure that they're able to maintain focus with a piece of writing. We are looking at writing for 7th grade, but note each grade level has a different minimum for production. Now let's take a moment to look at Felicia's writing. And right now I see that Felicia wrote 214 words, so she is able to be eligible for 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the rubric. But let's see what she wrote. My new next-door neighbor moved into her apartment. The people that moved out were really nice, but they had to move to California for their jobs. They live in LA now, and I want to visit them. One really challenging time was when my dad and I helped the new next-door neighbor move. My dad told me to pick up a box, so I went ahead and tried to lift it. Whoa, I was right. This box was way too heavy. I tried to get it to the door. As I picked up the 5-ton box, I could feel my muscles tightening as the weight of the box pulled me down. What did she have in here, bricks? I thought to myself. Okay, maybe if I try to slide the box. No. What will it take for me to get this box to the door? I tried one last time. With all of my might, I almost barely picked up the box. I trudged across the sidewalk with the heavy box. All of a sudden, my dad scolded me for trying to lift the box. You told me to lift this box. No, I told you to pick up the box with the tea set inside of it. What? Okay, well, I see that she has a couple sentences in the beginning that don't really aren't necessary, but everything else was great. It was just about one moment. This entire section here was all about her lifting up the box and struggling with the box. So I would give her a score of a 3 for focus. Okay, let's look at another student's writing, Joan. And here I can see that Joan has written 165 words. So again, she could easily score a 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the rubric. But let's take a look at what Joan wrote. One time in art class, I had a really hard drawing assignment. Well, it was a free choice, but I decided to make it challenging because I like a challenge every once in a while. I was trying to draw a gray wolf face. I saw a gray wolf once at a zoo when I went to a trip to Minnesota. We drove to Minnesota and it took a really long time, especially because we had to keep stopping so my brother could go to the bathroom. We visited my grandparents and we went swimming in the lake near the house. I was copying a drawing that showed a snarling wolf coming out of fog. I started by drawing the nose. My friend was sitting next to me and she was sketching a turtle. She was doing a great job and the shell looked perfect. The nose that I made turned out okay. Once I made a drawing of a cat and the whole face. Okay, so Joan starts by talking about drawing the wolf, but then kind of goes on a tangent about Minnesota. And then she comes back to talk about art class again, but then she ends with her drawing of a cat. So Joan has an introductory idea of focus, but she still has a lot of work to do. So I would give Joan a score of 2. Once you have assessed all of the writing for getting started in Lesson 4, you are ready to make some decisions. If 80% of your students score a 3 or above for the skill of focus, like we just saw in Felicia's writing, this means that they have a strong grasp of the skill and you're able to skip directly to the last lesson in getting started and then move on to the next subunit. However, if 80% of your students did not score a 3 or above for focus, like we saw in Joan's writing, this means they need a lot more practice and you should continue teaching the rest of the Getting Started lessons. In these lessons, your students will have more opportunities to practice with the skill of focus and increase their productivity. You can find all of the directions for this in the Before the Next Lesson card for the lesson. Here, you will find instructions on what to do before you teach Lesson 7 or move on to the last unit in Getting Started. Now, a quick recap. The first 5 lessons in Getting Started teach foundational skills in writing. Lesson 4 is a crucial point in the curriculum and a place for you to make some instructional decisions. After you assess the writing from Lesson 4 for focus, if 80% of your students receive a score of 3 or higher, you can choose to skip to the last lesson in Getting Started. Amplify's curriculum helps every student make progress, but with your support. We are here to help you make it work for every one of your students. If you have questions about how to help assess student writing or what lessons to skip, there are additional resources for you on our teacher website, or please contact your coach for more support. Thank you so much for watching.